The awakening process can only fail if there's a failure of surrender and detachment. Awakening is about dying because living an embodied life in the world is about being immersed in the dream. Awakening is about bringing the dream to an end, which means bringing that life to an end. You have to die and experience death to awaken. You can only look within, into the emptiness of your own being, beyond the superficial sense of being present, if you have first mastered surrender and detachment. You need to surrender so that you focus your attention only on the present moment. You need to detach yourself so that you can externalize yourself. When you surrender, you accept everything as it is every moment with no desire that anything be any different than it is in the present moment. That's how you focus your attention only on the present moment. You stop emotionally projecting yourself into an imaginary past and future. You stop remembering a personal past and stop anticipating a personal future. You have to focus your attention only on the present moment before you can really look within, which requires your surrender and acceptance of everything as it is in the present moment. You also have to detach yourself from everything you can perceive in your world and empty yourself of all those things. You have to sever your emotional attachments to everything. Most importantly, you have to sever your emotional attachment to your character that appears in the world you perceive. You have to stop caring about whatever appears to happen to your character in that world, as your character appears to live a life in that world. When you sever your emotional attachment to your character, something dies inside and your character becomes dead to you. Your ego dies. That's how you cut the knot of personal self-identification. When you've detached yourself from your character and that world, you can step out of that world and see that world from the outside, from a higher level of consciousness. You see that world like a movie you're watching and see your character as the central character of the movie, which is only an illusion of what you really are, no more real than the projected and animated images of a movie that you're watching from your seat out in the audience. That's when you can finally withdraw your attention away from that world, turn away from that world, look within, refocus your attention on your own sense of being present for that world as the consciousness at the center of that world, and look into the emptiness of your own being. That can only happen when you've mastered both surrender and detachment, are focused only on the present moment, and have externalized yourself from that world. You need to look away from the movie screen. You need to become interested in discovering what you really are as the consciousness itself, which is the only thing that's really real, and lose interest in the world you perceive, which is illusory and imaginary. You need to become aware of how you emotionally project yourself into an imaginary past and future, remembering a personal past and anticipating a personal future, which keeps your attention focused anywhere other than the present moment. You need to become aware of your failure to surrender. You also need to become aware of how you emotionally attach yourself to things, which is your failure to detach yourself from things. You have to focus your attention on the present moment to discover your own reality. The remembered past and anticipated future are purely imaginary and have no reality. Only the present moment has a point of reality, which is what you really are. You are that point of consciousness, that presence of consciousness at the central point of view of your own world. That's where you have to look to discover your own reality. You have to look in the present moment, which is why you have to surrender and seek out that point of consciousness, which is the true nature of what you really are. You also have to detach yourself from everything in that world and externalize yourself. You detach and externalize yourself from that world. You empty yourself of everything in that world. You step out of that world and see things from outside that world, like a movie you're watching from your seat out in the movie audience, so that you can directly see for yourself that everything you've attached yourself to is imaginary. When you see the illusion as an illusion, you can finally turn away from the illusion, look within, and refocus your attention on what you really are, the consciousness present at the center of that illusory world. That's when you can finally look deeper into the emptiness of your own being. If you can't look within, that's the failure of your surrender and detachment. Please visit the Science and Non-Duality WordPress.com website.